really good that we've talked about infidelity, financial conflict, and we talked about communication. So
I have to add something there. In order for you to be honest with each other, you'll have to start by being brutally honest to yourself.
Brutally honest.
Brutally honest to yourself.
And don't be afraid to talk straight.
Yes.
Guys, the one thing I'm going to Jenny, what are we talking about today?
3 main common causes of divorce. What are they?
3 main causes of divorce.
Infidelity, financial conflicts, and communication. Those are the main causes of divorce.
The main causes of divorce.
Do you agree?
I do. So let's talk about infidelity. You know, so when we talk about infidelity, we've been working with a lot of couples over the years. You know, we've been working with individuals, married, single, and divorced. And as we've been doing that, we found out that couples really struggle with infidelity. And
Number one. At least for me.
Yeah. Well, and you know, what are some of the reasons you think that infidelity? I mean, from a woman's standpoint, as we talk about that, why do women struggle with infidelity within the marriage?
Well, one of them is feeling neglect, lack of intimacy, or lack of attention from your spouse. Those are the 3 things. And yeah, I've experienced that from my past marriage.
So as far as, you know, as we get into you said lack of respect?
No, lack of intimacy and lack of attention from your spouse.
Lack of attention, okay.
It's a pretty common thing, that cause for the spouse to go out and spend time with the other person.
Well,
instead of.
Well, that's true. And from a marriage standpoint, what happens with that lack of intimacy that happens, which causes, is one of the causes for infidelity is, when you're dating, you spend all that time together. I remember when we were dating, we were so excited about wanting to see each other. We'd get all dressed up. We would look nice. We'd want to spend time. And all we wanted to do was thinking about.
Because we were brand new.
And we wanted to be intimate.
Yes.
We wanted to make time. And we always make time for it. Didn't matter if we had kids, if there was a financial problem, if there was a job problem, we always made time for it.
That's exciting.
But it was. And then all of a sudden, when you get married, you get moved in, things start happening. What starts happening? Life starts to happen.
Yes. That's when the adjustment is going. Starting to your real you coming out. Some of your behavior, the true behavior will come out that I didn't know about. So it's kind of
the true behavior that she didn't know about.
It's pretty normal when you get married.
Well, and two, you take that excitement when you're first together.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what's going on at work or at the kids or situation, but then what starts to happen is first of all, you started making sure you were losing weight, staying healthy, and you were looking nice. Husbands, I would get all dressed up and look nice. My hair, I didn't have to comb my hair, but
But then when you get married, you became so comfortable, and sometimes you didn't care how you look. You don't care about how you look because what the heck, I'm married now, so
I'm just going to show up.
I'm
going to show up in the bedroom, and I'm just going to look like the old homeless guy in the street, and I'm going to be attractive. You're just going to jump all over me, But what starts to happen is you lose that respect for your spouse, and then there's all this stuff out in the corporate world. Now, I only worked in the corporate world for a little bit, but you hear these terms out there that the couples I've coached that we've been coaching for a while, they've talked about their work spouse. Husbands talk about I have my work wife. Wives talk about I have my work husband, and it's someone that they work with very closely.
Work spouse is the co-workers.
Yeah,
because you're there every day.
Yeah,
spending time together. That's called work spouse.
It is.
Is that how you try to?
Yeah, that's really what it is. And you find out that you spend more time with your work co-partner, your work spouse is what people title it as. I don't title it. I've never been in the corporate world for a very long time. I've been an entrepreneur, most of my life. But the couples I've coached and the little time I was in the corporate world, I've seen that to where spouses have come and the husbands that go off with their secretary or their co-partner and they
have a dinner with.
They have lunch together.
That's a business partner.
They do business events together.
It's kind of normal, but for us as a stay-home mom, we're gonna feel like, lack of attention from you.
Yeah, well, and also though, some of the wives at home or the husbands that have that, if the other one's working, they accept that at times. They go, well, that's my husband's work wife, and I'm okay. Take care, take care of him at work. Or the husband goes, oh, that's my wife's work husband. Take care of her. But that mindset, when things start to struggle at home, and you're arguing, you're not communicating
because the wife don't feel like you have enough time for me,
right?
But you have more time for the coworker.
Yeah, you're spending all your time.
It's pretty normal to feel that way sometimes.
Well, and that's when things start to get rocky.
Yeah.
You start talking to those other people, and truthfully, people have asked me, Greg, can men have women as friends? No, you really can't. I mean, they can be associates. You can, if Jenny and I are at a barbecue and Fred and Mary come over and we're all talking as a group.
You can share as a group couple.
Yeah.
You can share a problem to a couple, not the only spouse.
Right.
Because you're putting yourself into trouble. You know what you're getting.
Yeah. You are.
You're sharing your emotion to that person alone.
Yep.
So it's better to talk to both of them.
It is. So from a husband's standpoint, if your wife's staying at home, understand that your wife's a queen. Your wife is a queen.
We are a queen. Yes.
Treat her like a queen. And if you were going to treat her like a queen, you're not going to take your relationship to your office. You're not going to talk about intimacy.
No.
You're not going to go home and complain. And go, oh, my wife.
No.
Because once you start doing that, oh, my wife's not doing this. Oh, finances are tough. Oh, whatever. Blah blah blah. And that now that weak relationship at work starts to come together. Now you've got two weak relationships, maybe with the work wife or the work spouse, and they come together and they start to comfort each other. Oh my goodness. And then they start talking bad about each other. And it turns into now infidelity. Now they're having an affair at work, and now they're going off on work events. They're traveling together, and they're coming home. And
so avoid sharing your problem to one person, especially to your coworker.
Right. Stay with your queen. There's a lot of times where I've worked with couples and stuff over the years, and with Jenny and I've understood that, I know a lot of women, and we coach a lot of couples and women. But can a man have a friend, a woman as a best friend? No, not if you're married. That's just what we've seen.
Some people will say, oh, just be open-minded about it. But no, you're putting yourself into danger.
You are. So just,
dangerous zone. Don't go there.
It's the danger zone. And, so infidelity, it comes from not paying attention to your spouse. It comes from taking your personal life and sharing it outside, at your work, at the coworkers. And then that whole turns into an emotional hug and emotional innocent flirts. And then now the husband.
I would call that emotionally infidelity. There are 3 types of infidelity.
Are there?
I would say sex infidelity, emotional infidelity, and then the last one is sex and emotionally combined together. That's the most dangerous one because it combines your relationship will go deeper into sexual plus emotional combined together. That means they have a deeper relationship. The sexual one is just sex. There is no emotional included. So. Well,
and you bring up another point.
Yeah. But that pop up in my head right now.
No.
I don't know if I was right, but that's how I feel.
She's the queen.
There are 3 types of infidelity. Yes.
Well, and you bring up a point, and you and I were just talking about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. Is pornography considered infidelity? There's a lot of husbands.
That's my biggest question.
Well, we're going to talk about that. There's a lot of husbands and wives, but generally husbands, if they aren't out physically, cheating on their spouse, they're coming home and they're watching pornography. They're in their work watching pornography, and they're getting all bound up. But then when they go up to the bedroom, they themselves don't feel welcome into the bed because their mind is somewhere else. So when they're watching that video, that pornography, you are cheating on your spouse because your mind went to a place of thinking that. So
you committed infidelity.
You did.
You committed sin. You committed adultery at that moment.
Well, and it takes everything out of the line.
Yes. And your spouse will become cold.
Yeah, they do. People start to stay up later on the couch watching movies. They start getting their phones into the bedroom.
Trying to avoid intimacy.
Yeah, they're just not.
You already did it with the pornography. So you don't feel like going intimate with your spouse anymore because you did it already over there. Yeah. That's just worst thing to do. Well, I have been there with my ex-spouse. Really? I'm not going to go with that detail right now. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time you'll talk about that?
I've been through that.
Okay, maybe she'll talk about next time. She's got some knowledge.
I struggled. It was a traumatic time for me. It was.
Well,
And pornography is a serious thing. It's the one of the biggest problems in marriage.
That's a destroyer. So, it's like cancer when it gets into the system. It just keeps going and going. And that could be a topic that we could talk about maybe on one of our shows, just as a full how that affects your spiritual, emotional things. But with infidelity, a lot of it's caused by it's not a cause, but a lot of people decide to be cheating on their spouses because of financial conflicts at home.
That's one of the reasons. So it became stressful because of the financial conflicts.
Well, there's two. We were talking about this yesterday, as we were driving around, figuring out how we wanted to help you guys on this show. There's two kinds of financial conflicts. One of them, there's a lack of money. And then there's a control of money.
Yes.
Now, nobody argues about, hey, I have $2 million in the bank and I have too much money. But there can be so let's talk about the one that folks don't really talk about. Let's talk about the control of money. And you've kind of experienced this.
Yes.
I really haven't, but I've coached some couples before that have come to me and generally it's the husband. It is. There's been
that control the money.
That control the money. I do know some situations to where the husband stays home and the wife isn't. But what we're talking about control, and Jenny, maybe you can talk about on how you felt. And some couples that are in this.
I remarried. This is my third marriage, by the way. My first spouse was the one who really controlled me because I was a stay-home mom. So every time I want to buy something, I had to ask permission, even little things, because I didn't feel like I deserved it because I was not working. But he would control everything. I need to know everything, all the purchases that I'm doing. He needs to know everything. So I didn't feel like I was part of the financial. I felt like his money alone, and I was not included in the financial. So it was kind of different. Struggle.
So it wasn't a lack of money.
He had money.
It's
just I felt like I was not part of it.
Right.
Maybe because I was not working, I was just stay-home mom. My self-confidence went down very, very low. So it did not help me. I struggled.
So you felt like you had to ask for permission?
Yes. When I married him,
here we go.
Secrets every little thing I had to ask if I buy this, if I buy that. It bothers him because, honey, you don't have to tell me. Those are small things. But, if you have your own spending money separate from our joint,
right.
You still need, if you want to purchase a big stuff, a couple of hundreds, of course you have to let your husband know. Because
that goes both ways.
Yes,
even though in a conversation we'll talk about communication.
For me,
right.
Even I have my own spending money, you have your own spending money.
Right.
If I have to purchase little things, then I don't have to tell you sometimes. Sometimes I don't. I still have that old paradigm, but I'm getting better.
Well, and that's where you don't need to. That part of finances in a marriage is that people don't talk about. We're working with a couple now where one of the spouses goes out and has a job and has to give all their money to another, to the spouse, and she doesn't have any access to her own money.
No,
she's working. She gives it to the.
I was talking to her yesterday.
To her husband, and
she
can't spend anything, even buying a Slurpee.
He controls the money that she makes,
and it's not necessarily. Well, it's not necessarily a lack of money. It's you go out and work. I'm working, and you're going to give me the money, and I'll tell you what we do.
Yeah.
And that right there creates a lack of self-confidence. Jenny is talking about. First of all, let's talk about this. The woman's a queen. We want to treat. Guys, we want to treat our spouses, our wives like a queen. They are. And if you've got wives that are staying home and you've got kids, man, I tell you what, they're generally working harder than what the husbands are. I mean, think about it. If they've got kids, they're a doctor, they're a taxi, they're a psychologist, they're a grocery driver, they're a contractor, they're a plumber, they're a maid, and then they're going to be your wife. And then they're going to be your best friend. And then you want to come home and then you want them to be intimate with you. And then you want them to make time for you. Yeah. So, if you're
struggled with that in the past.
Yeah.
That's how I felt that I don't deserve this. I don't deserve good things. I was just a stay-home mom. But I kind of realized later, full-time mom is a full-time job.
It is.
It is.
And women need to give themselves credit for that. Yes. And inversely, if there's husbands that are staying home, that are stay-home dads, there's nothing wrong with that. If the wife is going out, she's creating that income and doing all that.
Don't feel bad about it.
Then the husband is doing all that stuff as well. And then it's the wife needs to understand that as much as she is still the queen, he's a king. You know, wives treat your husbands like a king. But if you want that treatment, as I talk to guys, I'm straight with you. Get off your butt. Stop screwing around. Don't think that I'm the king and I
have to bow down
and your wife has to bow down with you. And I go out and make all this money, and don't come home and sit in the couch and put your hands in your pants like was it Al Bundy and just say, get up, make me a sandwich. You guys can still come home and help. So that financial conflict is not just being lack of, but now having a lack of finances can bring a lot of stress. And that can lead to a spouse going to work or going somewhere else and having that intimacy affair, thinking that they can replace their feeling of a lack of money of having an affair with somebody else. So just that lack of finances, that can bring stress into the house if you're not aligned. And if you don't understand the difference between what an investment is and what an expense was, because I'll tell you, Jenny and I, when we first came together, man, I told her I was a king. I blew myself up. Prior to her, I was making.
You ain't not so bad.
Well, I was making a few $100,000 a year before I met you, and then when she met me, I was coming into the middle of a disaster. There was a divorce happening. My company was going through some things. Custody stuff was happening.
A lot of stories, guys.
There's a lot of stuff going on. So I moved her up from Florida to Michigan, telling her I'm this king and I'm going to support for you. And then when she moves up, we're looking for groceries and everything fell apart. Yeah. So just understand that during that time, though, Jenny and I had a lot of communication. And we'll get to that, but that financial conflict, we understood we would sit down constantly and go, okay, what's an expense? Expenses are things you don't need right now, or things that you want that you don't need. And what's an investment? Investments are like a house payment, utilities, cell phones, gas in your car, food, clothes that are needed, not the shopping spree.
Yeah, we don't call that as bills.
Those are investments. Those are all investments. So just understanding that, and we'll talk about that on one of our shows here in the future on financial conflict.
Let's stay on track.
And how to get through that. Yeah, I'm kind of a squirrel. So there I go up, but I come back. So the infidelity that also can bring on that financial conflict. But understand there's different types of financial conflict. There's not just the one that everyone thinks about.
Lack of financial
is the lack of money
and then
is big.
Control.
And then the control. People don't want to talk about that control. But when you remember when we were in the financial kind, that hard time, and we had some heated arguments. We did. And guys, I'll tell you, it's okay to have appropriate conflicts, to have appropriate arguments, appropriate loud conversations in your marriage. It's needed. Now I say appropriate, and safe, because it's needed for the growth. Jenny and I wouldn't have grown. And I tell you what,
we have to go through that in order for us to learn. That's why we've learned a lot, because we've been through all of the struggle, the fighting, the conflicts.
Oh, we've been through all that stuff.
Man.
I can tell you that,
we almost broke up really.
Once. Yeah, we did. We did. And that's another story we can share down the road. But we identified that we made it through, and what are we, 7 years later now? Here we are.
We've learned a lot.
Have we?
And we've grown a lot.
Have we grown a lot? I've grown a little bit too much in my stomach. But I'm hiding it right now. But we're getting there. So as we deal with the financial conflict, we're going to talk more about that. But that's really is understanding that you've got to really spend some time together, and don't go to your friends at work. Guys don't go to what you call your friends that are girls.
It's never good. It's never good.
Well, yeah, guys can't have best friends as girls. They just can't do it. It's not how we're built. Your wife is your queen. That's where you go to. Guys, if you're going to go talk about your marriage and stuff, it's okay to have a best friend, a guy that you can trust. It's in your circle of trust that your wife knows, that you guys know, the women. It's okay to have a girlfriend that you can go talk to. Women need to talk, but make sure you're a husband that you guys know that circle of trust of people that you're talking with, that you all trust each other, and that there's no going on and behind the back and scenes, because we've been a part of that.
Yes.
And it doesn't do any good.
Now it's gonna go down to communication skills.
Is it?
Yes, that's the next part.
Oh,
we are running out of time. We're timing.
Are we running out of time? She's gonna keep me on time. So
because it's at the
you think so? I'm shy. I'm trying to get stuff
done. He's good. He's really good.
But with infidelity, and then talking about how that took us to some financial conflicts, or those are a cause of both.
Goes down to communication.
Talk to me about communication.
Communication for me, in short, is no communication means no compromise.
No communication is no compromise. Well, that's a true thing. And there's when you're learning to communicate, there's going to be compromise.
Of course.
There really is. You brought up a point that when you're communicating, you've come into a marriage, or you're going through situations that are some of these big things we've talked about. How do you get through that? Well, there's different versions. There's good communication.
Bad communication.
There's bad communication.
I used to be a bad communicator.
Well, then there's another one that people don't want to talk about. There's no communication. That's one that
it's just like silent treatment with each other. That's never good, because we've been through that.
We've done that before.
I did a lot to you, and I kind of realized, oops, it's not working. But sometimes, Greg is a fixer. When we have something, when we argue, sometimes he wants to fix it right away.
Do we argue?
Yes.
We do argue.
In the past, but not anymore.
We don't argue anymore?
We're so lucky.
Oh, we still argue.
Don't
we argue? No, I guess we don't.
He used to want to fix it right away. But me, I was opposite. Just leave me alone, because my emotion was high. I was not ready to talk. He wants to sit down and talk. I was not ready. I said, leave me alone. Just give me space. Because that doesn't work for me. When you come right away and talk to me and try to fix things, no. I'm not going to listen, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
It's not good. So just give me time to breathe and think. Give me time. It could be tomorrow.
Could be. No. Could be tomorrow.
I want
I learned to get patient with that. Yeah,
I'll be okay probably in 1 hour, 2 hours. It doesn't take that long for me.
No, but it used to. Sometimes it would take a couple days.
Yeah, but I've learned.
Yeah.
So I've learned not to go to bed without fixing our problem first, because I won't be able to go to bed. I won't be able to sleep.
We don't. Yeah, we stay up all night.
So it's better to fix it. Yeah. But you have to give your spouse the time to breathe when that spouse is really angry and mad and yelling. You're not gonna sit down with your spouse and start yelling at each other. So it's not good.
It's not. Well, and here's the important thing with communication.
Yes.
Is that if you go back to infidelity and you go back to finances, there was a point that I know that, as we coach a lot of people, and even in my own life, that, guys sometimes get to a point, for whatever reason, they don't feel welcome in the bedroom. Whether it's they've gained weight, whether they're doing something that's wrong, or maybe they're just struggling with their self-confidence and they've done nothing. And they start to maybe put on a little bit of a belly, and they don't feel attractive as much. And maybe they took a cut in pay. Maybe they don't have the houses that their friends have, and they start to not want to feel comfortable being intimate. They make themselves not feel welcome in bed. And the wife didn't know. She's just going on, sleeping there, wondering, why isn't he, attacking me in bed like he used to? Why isn't he jumping all over me? Why isn't he ripping my clothes off? And
everything's changed.
Everything changed? And it's because they were uncomfortable communicating, saying, hey, listen, I don't feel comfortable in bed anymore, and this is why. Or if they
sometimes they don't express their feelings to the spouse.
Exactly.
So therefore, you guys need to sit down together and
communicate.
Talk it out. Be very transparent to your spouse.
Yeah.
Be very, very honest on how you feel,
what
you like, what you don't like. Yes.
Well, and it's all about communication and finances. If there's a financial conflict, 90% of it can be fixed through communication on telling them what's been happening. And I've been spending money inappropriately, or I've been taking cash out, or I've been stealing money, or I just, whatever it is, or I'd like to buy more of this, or hey, I need this, or whatever that is.
And stop hiding things from your spouse.
Yeah.
Stop hiding things from your spouse. That's one of the biggest problems.
Well, kings and queens. She's a queen. She looks at me as a king, and men, you are kings, and women, you are queens. You are in your marriage. You're going to treat each other like that. So feel that way. And, a lot of this stuff with communication comes to self-love, comes to having gratitude, making sure things are aligned, being grateful for everything you have. That lack of communication causes a lot more than bad communication.
That's why it's very important to have communication skills, good communication skills. You have to practice it.
Well, and you took it to another point. There's a book out there called The 5 Love Languages.
No,
and I've read you have to. We've read that. No. That's one with the purple cover. We read it.
Oh, the purple one.
Yeah, purple.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, you gave a copy to Ivy. You did. You gave a copy to her.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Yep, you did. And that book right there is a good book, and it teaches us our spouse's love language.
Yes.
There's 5 love languages in that book, and if your spouse's major love language is words of affirmation, and you're out buying her a bunch of gifts, she may not
buying love.
She may not be excited about that.
That's not me.
But what she's looking for is those words of I love you. I want to spend time with you. I think you're great. I'm appreciative of you. But if her love language is buying gifts, and you're telling her how beautiful she is all the time, which you should still do.
But every woman's different.
Then you're not attacking her love language, or
you're buying her love.
Or for love language, or for guy, if your love language is physical touch.
So they're shopping, yes.
If you're
for me, I look at it like I will buy my love.
Well, yeah,
it's not gonna work.
But here's
simple roses and
simple roses.
Verbal, like
just simple.
Honey, I love you, and I'm sorry. That's magic for me.
Maybe I need to do that more often. Gosh,
you already know that.
I'm taking notes.
Okay, I'll change my mind. Buy me a Lamborghini every time. Buy me big stuff. But, no, I'm not a materialistic person.
But understanding your spouse's love language and how to communicate with them. You know, if there's physical touch, if it's words of affirmation, if it's buying a gift, if it's spending time, learning how to communicate with them. And here's the big thing: when you speak to your spouse, really everybody, but when you speak to your spouse, you want him or her to receive it in the way that you're trying to share it. So make sure that time when Jenny says that I'm a fixer, and most guys are fixers. We want to get in there when it's broke, fix it right now. And that can cause problems.
No, doesn't work for me.
So take some time, and let
leave me alone.
Well, I mean, if something breaks on the car, on my truck, and the motor's still hot, and I have to change a belt, I'm going to let the motor cool down.
Same thing.
So I can change the belt, or I'm going to burn myself. So let the situation cool down. It won't take long. And then understand how to communicate with your spouse. And then when you speak to her or him, make sure that you're saying it in a way that they're going to receive it the way that you like it to.
And you have to have empathy in the conversation. Right. Empathy is very important. Yes. Love and respect.
Love and respect. Well, and that's...
Treat your spouse with compassion, love, and respect. Those are the three things.
So you're saying communication is really important.
It is.
Now, how often, is that a daily thing or just once a month?
Oh, daily thing. Every day. We're learning and growing every day. So, adjustment is forever.
Well, it is. And
learning is forever.
It is. And we're actually increasing our knowledge and growing our business to where we're going to be adding some new programs to our business. And we're going through some additional education. All of us need to get educated. I'm going to sneeze live on the TV show. So that's a good thing. See, this is real. We're not going to edit that out. We're going to leave the sneeze in.
We're just having conversation.
We're going to have a conversation.
It's not really a big TV channel. We just...
But as we start
to
work with folks, we're going to be taking on more and more couples, entrepreneurs. We're going to be working with singles on coaching them and really transfer. Our version is we're going to reinvent people's lives. We're going to help them reinvent their life from where they are to where they want to get to. And
all right, what time is it?
I don't know. It's probably time to wrap it up. So I'm going to go through this real quick. Today, as Jenny and I talked, I think it's been really good that we've talked about infidelity, financial conflict,
communication,
and we talked about communication. So
I have to add something there. In order for you to be honest with each other, you'll have to start by being brutally honest to yourself.
Brutally honest.
Brutally honest to yourself.
And don't be afraid to talk straight.
Yes.
Guys, the one thing I'm going to tell you is as we talk more in our show, we're going to talk straight. We're going to say things like
we're going to make mistakes.
We're going to say things like sex on here.
You guys just comment below if you have something to share.
Arguments and get off your butt.
Yeah.
Quit being lazy. Treat your spouses better. This is going to be a talk show that we're really going to take as we just find topics that folks want us to share. But we're going to do this every Wednesday. I think we're probably going to share messages throughout the week here and there, but every Wednesday we're going to do this.
That's our day to share.
We may bring on guests, guests once in a while to share some things here and there.
We're planning to have one.
Yeah, we're not going to announce it yet, but we're getting some confirmations on who we're going to be bringing on. But we're going to wrap it up today.
But before we finish, I would like to thank my amazing husband. He is really amazing, guys. I've learned a lot from him. He taught me how to become a better person, better wife, and better mother. Believe me, he is really good. You are an amazing husband.
Well,
and I love you.
And she loves me. But, it doesn't, none of us.
I just didn't say that. I meant it. Okay.
Well, and none of us husbands can do anything without our spouses, really. A husband and wife. Jenny brings so much to the plate. A lot of women look up to her. She doesn't realize that. She's leading a lot of women, creating her own little ministry. And what we're going to be doing individually, she'll have a podcast of her own down the road. We're going to have one of my own. We're going to bring stuff together. And Jenny, really, as you get to know her, you're going to see not only just an amazing mother, but an amazing entrepreneur and a leader.
Thank you for that.
And that's really what she is.
You.
She helps people reinvent their lives. And of course, God is at the head of everything we do.
Yes.
That's really what
you
this is all
gotta
around.
put God first in everything you do.
It is.
Everything you do. Because He will guide you through everything you do.
It is. So guys, comment below. Like I said, we're going to start taking folks on, but comment below on any questions you have. If you'd like to get with Jenny and I some self-improvement, comment below, get a hold of Jenny or I.
Yeah, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, we can have some open conversations. You know, our first ones, we can figure out how we can help you. And, you know,
we've been talking to friends already that have problems.
You know, we have. And it's just a mission that we're on. What we're doing is not a job. It's a mission. You know, we're teaching people how to take their soul and how to move it. And
yeah, we just like to share what we learned in the past 2 years.
It is.
Or 3 years.
But we're getting off track because we could keep going forever, guys. We enjoy talking with you guys. Sharon, if there's any topics you want us to really bring out and talk about, we're happy to consider that. Put those in the comments below. And with that, you know, at Achieving Your Goals at Breakneck Speed is something that we do, that we've done, and we continue to want to do all the time. And I know that these topics that we continue to share I look forward to try and
trying to turn it off.
Stop the recording. Here we go.
I'll see you guys next show.
We'll see you guys next week. And we appreciate you guys. And remember, self-love, light and love is what we practice at Achieving Your Goals at Breakneck Speed. It's something we do, we're doing.
Amen.
And we appreciate you guys. Bye.